Okay. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna have to get together, Bill, over a cup of Joe.
I support it. I was thinking maybe Thursday, and you check your schedule for what will work. But I'm just
I'm,
suggesting.
yeah, no, I'm wide open Thursday as far as I can remember. As far as I can remember. But yeah, again, God, boy, I slept long last night.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's. Yeah, I wanted. I caught your on the group me that you were struggling.
oh, that was quite a while back, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know if you go in and look at group me if you can multitask, but I'll tell you what it read because from what I see in the notes, you started last night after group about 10 to 11 p.m.
Yeah.
And you just said, this is good for me, does not seem normal.
Oh, yeah, I screwed the message, the first part of the message up. Then I tried to recover it, and it just got worse. what I, I right at the end of the group, Noah was taking time in them, and it occurred to me that there are times when uh, you're almost afraid to feel good. It doesn't seem just doesn't seem normal because that's not the normal for you.
Yep.
And so I asked Noah. It was the last minute of the group. Mark had already pretty much ended it. I said, I just have one more question, Noah. I said, are you ever afraid to feel good? And Mark said, he said, somebody write that on the board. Write that question on the board. We're going to talk about it next time. And so I got home and got to thinking about it. I thought I'm going to try to explain this somehow. It's yeah. So that's what I did.
Oh,
Uh,
that makes sense.
yeah. So I wrote that thing out. And I screwed it up, but yeah, because I remember my father when I was a kid. If I was feeling really good, and sometimes I just feel so good, I'd start getting silly, and he didn't like that. So he'd tell me to knock it off, knock it off. It was almost like being punished for feeling good. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so when you feel good, it's sort of like, ah, shit, this isn't going to end well.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, you're feeling depressed. And I just thought it was something kind of worth exploring. About how, yeah, because no, I mean, I just got the feeling he just feels bad so much of the time. And
Yeah.
I, and
Yeah. That's really good.
But everything he said about it, I was connecting with. I was really resonating with the guys. Man, I tell you, I've been there. I know exactly what you're feeling, and I couldn't. I was trying to figure it out, and that's when I came up with that question. So next time we're going to talk about that, Bill,
Oh, that's good to know.
because I think it's a kind of a different angle on it. That
Absolutely. I think one of the things that I look at in my life is with the messages from my dad and him also being an alcoholic.
yeah,
I couldn't predict who was going to come through the door
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and didn't understand, that he had moods and he had challenges and
yeah,
uh, coming home was where he could finally just, let out a breath. But if you got in his space, it's kind of like read the room, Chuck, but then you think you've read the room and it explodes.
yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, I get what Chuck is saying about, you know, like you say, the mirror of other people consistently has been, that I'm a good guy, I'm a reliable guy, I'm a personable guy, but yet, and I know I went through a ton of that
Yeah.
over the last 18 months where I just was judging myself
Oh yeah.
unmercifully,
Oh yeah.
unmercifully.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what an exercise.
Yeah. There was a. I'm trying to recall what I was trying to recall what I was going to say here, Bill.
It's
Damn.
okay.
Oh shit. Had something to do with that, but I can't remember. Yeah. No. It's. Oh, I remember. I occurs to me with the depression. The way I kind of think about it is, as a psychologist, I'm always trying to figure out the nature nurture question, which is probably never be answered. But I believe that something like 80% of the variation in our behavior is genetic. We're wired that way. And the way I look at it is that it's interactive. We're born with all of the ingredients. It's like making a cake. We're born with all the ingredients. Then all we need is an oven, and that would be the environment. So yeah, yeah, it's a thorny issue, but
Yeah.
yeah, anyhow,
Well, and I think of our careers, and part of when I've had these discussions with you about, especially when you went to the University of Minnesota,
uh-huh,
and I was at the University of Minnesota Moorhead,
right,
and you're exploring, you're out on your own, you're thinking, and when you chose, I thought, it's very interesting how people in psychology, like you were going for your doctorate and talking about, how grueling it could be, and
yeah,
sleepless nights and trying to decide which corridor you wanted to go down.
yeah.
And I don't know if your dad ever commented about your career choice and what that meant to him.
Well, okay. When I was in college, he didn't understand why I wanted to go to college. He
Wow.
thought he thought he thought I should be a salesperson, a salesman. Reason being is they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, that was never a driver for me. That never
Yeah.
motivate money. I didn't care. I
Yeah.
wanted to do what I wanted to do. But and then when I got my PhD, he came up for graduation, and uh, and then a PhD graduation. It's kind of a big deal. It's a lot of pomp and circumstance. And you go up and they put the hood on you,
Yep.
and they hand you your degree. Supposedly, it's a piece of paper that you get the degree later. And they said something about this is the highest degree that the university can award, the Doctor of Philosophy. And afterwards, he came out and he said, "Philosophy." He said, "I thought you were psychology." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he doesn't get it. This really doesn't mean he's not
Yeah.
impressed. He's not impressed. And I think, my God, will I ever be able to
No.
impress this guy in any way at all? But
No.
ah,
And I can really understand which route you chose. And like you say, deprioritizing monetary reward, and maybe trying to go in where I could understand, my situation and be able to, be of service in
yeah,
a way that help mankind.
yeah, yeah,
Because the more I visit with you, it's so fascinating that not only do you have this, doctorate, but you are an artist, you're a scientist, and you're a mathematician. And I'm like,